All right, what's going on, guys? Murmaider
Nothing
here
much. Thanks for asking, though.
with Hell22 over there,
Yep.
and we have a special episode for you guys today.
A very special Sorrow Eternal Christmas.
Yep, we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Yep. We each narrowed our list down to 5.
Yep,
And
it was not easy.
not easy at all. It's actually a lot harder than you'd think. Some of them are sure things, and then it's tough when you get to the end because there's like 10 albums that you want to put into that number 5 spot.
Yep. Now, just to mention ahead of time, all of these albums we're just suggesting, these are just our favorite albums. We're not saying that they are the best of all time. They're just our favorite albums. These are the albums that we turn to whenever we are bored of one genre of music or the other.
Yep. So we started off, oddly enough, out of the 5, we only agreed on 1. So first off, for both of us, was Avantasia's The Scarecrow.
Yep. I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm surprised that we only agreed on this one.
Yeah, me too.
But
it's a good one to agree on.
Yeah.
From 2008, which was actually introduced to me by a gentleman named Pete, who worked with us at the time, or worked for the same company at the time, and kind of said, like, hey man, you should check this out. And brought it back, and we listened to it in our place of business for some time, and
we were hooked.
It completely changed the way I look at, kind of the power metal genre.
Yeah.
Because Tobias Sammet just does things.
Yep. And now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Avantasia or the album, Avantasia is really just Tobias Sammet. It's his side project, the guy from Ed Guy.
Mm-hmm. Don't Sue.
Yeah. And he basically, and he has albums before this, and he's done albums after it as well, but he basically creates a metal opera and gets multiple musicians from all different bands and all over the world, and they all put their part into each song, or individual songs. And what I really like about it is that it's so different. The whole album, none of the songs sound the same.
No, it's very different.
Because you have different artists in each one.
Yep, Amanda Somerville's on the ballad on there, What Kind of Love.
Right, yep.
Alice Cooper's on here, which we actually thought was Dave Mustaine from Megadeth the first time we heard it.
Heard it, yeah. Yep.
But he's got everybody, and it's it's superstars, but it's none of the big ego stars. These guys, they get together and they just make a fucking great power metal album.
Yeah.
And this also was the first album which in what became the Wicked trilogy, with his latest 2.
Right.
So it was kind of the start of something great, and I think it changed the way you and I looked at power metal and that genre in particular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean and the album itself, it's got a lot of genres. I'd have to say. I mean, it's based off of power metal, but I mean, you could even, some of it falls into like more of a hard rock.
Yep, absolutely. Songs like "Shelter from the Rain."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, and "Carry Me Over."
But his voice is I think what makes the album.
Oh yeah,
he's got the very signature sound, and you just you can't beat his vocals. It's a little raspy, but he's great. Hitting the notes, got great range.
Yeah, he's got ridiculous range for guys.
So that that was one that we could definitely both agree on.
Yep.
Now, Murmaider, what was the next one on your list?
Well, guess I'll get into it here with the band Draconian.
Oh, good choice. What album did you pick?
I picked their second album, Arcane Rain Fell, which came out in 2005. And a couple different reasons why I picked this. I mean, first of all, this is one of the first real gothic doom metal bands that I really got into before you introduced me to a lot of others. And I mean, it's 8 tracks, and they're all, I mean, I love it from front to back. There's not one song that I ever skip. Daylight Misery is the second track off of the album, and it's definitely one of my favorite songs, especially for the doom genre. The way that they incorporate, the female vocals and the male growling together is it's gorgeous. It's really it's a great sound, and I'd have to say the main song that I really look forward to every time I play this is Death Come Near Me, which is the last song on the album.
I remember you playing that about 100 times at some long car ride somewhere.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's over 15 minutes long, the song, and whenever someone asks me to suggest like some sort of doom to them, I usually suggest this song. It's really long of a song to suggest to somebody, but I'm like, you got to sit there, just listen to the whole thing. It's got a lot of classical vibes to it, but the guitars are just so, I don't know, so powerful in it, and so much emotion going on between the strings and the piano, and then her vocals coming back in, and even in that song especially, the male growling and her vocals are together on it, and I really like his growling too, because it's not reckless growling. You can understand what he says more than half the time,
Which is good, because the lyrics are very profound. They're very important to hear the lyrics. It's not just him screaming about puppies and kitties and ducks and whatever. Chicken and sauce or something like that.
Yeah, so it's really. I feel like that album, I'll never forget that album. I'll always go back to it.
And we never agreed on their best album. That's your favorite. My favorite was Turning Season Within, which actually just missed my top 5. It was right on the cusp.
And actually, that's another reason why too that I picked this one was I got into this album before any of the other ones. I mean, I remember when that one came out, but for some reason I jumped back the minute that one came out, just to be like, oh, let me check out the rest of their stuff. And this one I was just blown away by. So I was stuck on this one for a while before I went through anything else. But well, now moving on. What was one of your top 5?
Well, my next one, and I was surprised with how easy I made the decision to include this, but Dimmu Borgir's Abrahadabra from last year.
Oh yeah,
it's only a year old.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
This album had a major impact on me and the music that I listened to, and I know you kind of felt the same way, because this. We talk about Dimmu a lot now on the podcast and in our other reviews, because they took the black metal genre and just completely turned it on its head and just redefined everything that it is. And now you think about all the bands that they've influenced. I mean, just bands. Look at the bands we've reviewed recently: Appalachian Winter, Astral Winter. All those bands were directly influenced by Dimmu and that signature symphonic black metal sound.
Right.
And I hadn't really gone into the Dimmu catalog very much, but when this album came out, I remember listening to it the first couple times and just being like, fucking shit, man. When you get into the first, there's the intro track, and then when Born Treacherous kicks in, that is one of my favorite songs probably of the last 10 years.
Wow.
Because it hits on every cylinder. The guitars are great. The different vocal styles between the screeching and those really deep, ominous vocals. And I just thought they did such a good job just making this complete album. And it wasn't just one track. There's no tracks to skip on the album. It's all just all the way through. And I actually bought the album. I own 3 separate versions of the album. I have the vinyl, which we got from CM Distro.
Right.
I have the little Digipack gatefold version, which is what we got when it came out. And then I ended up getting, I don't even know how I came across it. They had a Hot Topic exclusive version with 2 extra bonus tracks on it. So now I have that too.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that.
Including Dead Men Don't Rape is one of the songs. So I mean, just the fact that I own 3 different versions of the album kind of meant this album must have been pretty important to me.
Yeah.
And it really opened my eyes to the world of symphonic black metal. And I think that, I could be wrong, but isn't this kind of what really started you down the black metal path too?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First going back to their older stuff.
Oh yeah. You spent a good week just listening to their entire catalog.
Yeah, I was trying to take it all in at once, and I was curious what else what other types of sounds they had. And yeah, some of the earlier stuff too is just as good, and it's it's still similar too. They have a lot of the symphonic sounds in it, and mixed with the black metal as well.
Yeah, it's a very impactful album, and if you haven't heard it by this point, no matter what you think of Dimmu, no matter what you think of black metal, listen to this album.
Yeah.
So what was next on your list, Murmaider?
I had Nightwish's their newest album, Dark Passion Play, which came out in 2007.
Holy shit, has it really been that long?
Yeah. And that one, I have to say, it's always going to be another one of those albums that I'm always going to go back to, and it's definitely at the top of the list because I remember when it first came out. And I wasn't really familiar with the band. And I was, and when it came out, I picked it up and I was like, oh, I'll check it out. and I fell in love with it immediately.
Yep.
I mean, this is just straight, symphonic gothic metal at its best, and that's when they had the new singer. After they got rid of Tarja.
Yep.
They when they picked up Annette.
And they caught some fish with it. Ah!
I see what you did there. Well, yeah, so they picked up Annette, the female vocalist of Nightwish, and she did a great job on the album. I mean, this definitely separated a lot of fans. I know that were Nightwish fans, and some people didn't like her, some people loved her, and some people like her and Tarja both. And I went back and listened to a lot of Tarja stuff, and I like Tarja too. It's definitely for so if you're looking more for an operatic voice.
Yeah.
Annette has a more down to earth voice, I guess you could say.
Yeah, she's a lot more accessible.
Yeah. So I mean, I really enjoyed it though. One of my favorite songs was "Bye Bye Beautiful" was the radio hit, and that's actually one of the first songs that caught me. And then "The Islander" was another one of my favorite.
Yep.
When we saw that live, that was awesome.
Yep.
They were excellent live when we seen them
How many
twice.
times did we see them? Just twice?
Yeah. We were supposed to see him a third time, but I think Annette was sick.
Yeah, Annette was sick, and
that was with Sonata Arctica.
Yep, and then Sonata Arctica played the show anyway, but we didn't know they were playing. And
yeah, that would have been such a good show if
that's
they were
another
able
story
to.
altogether.
Yeah, but
now you got to remember that when you and I owned the album from when it came out, but I wasn't as struck by it initially.
Right.
And then you were like, no, seriously, listen to this again. And then we ended up, again, in our place of business, our Heavy Metal Mondays turned into Heavy Metal All the Time.
Yeah.
And we listened to that CD for like 4 months.
Straight.
Yep.
It was
to the point where all the other employees who don't like metal, don't like anything even close to metal, they were all singing along to the songs because we had just blown it into their fucking heads.
Yeah, I thought that was great. They all knew the words and everything. And I think what we were doing was we were playing it up till the day that we went to go see him.
Yep.
Right? And so once we see him live, eventually is when we switch CDs around.
We decided to let everyone rest.
But yeah, no, it really was like a 3 to 4 month period where that's all we listened to. And then of course I listened to it outside of work also.
Oh yeah.
And
that was the hardest part, is that I ended up like leaving my copy of the CD there all the time. And then I'm like, oh damn it, I want to listen to it now.
Yeah, no, that was it's a great album. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. The new singer, and I think they are coming out with a new album soon. Yep. So I'm curious.
Imaginarium.
Yep.
I believe it's early next year.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely check this one out if you haven't gotten a chance yet. Whether you like female-fronted gothic metal or not, I think this is an album that should just be heard anyways.
Yeah, I think you'll like, even if you don't like that stuff, you'll probably find at least one track that you like.
Yeah, yeah.